While I think it's great to see Black women gathering to celebrate our accomplishments, I can't help but realize that so much of our aspirations, our activism, and even our prayers are limited to the pursuit of wealth, not collective liberation or even mutual aid, but for our own personal desire to be rich by any means necessary. So many of these Black girl luxury and Black excellence spaces are just promoting capitalism with a Black face. And so if you're not invested in completely dismantling these systems, I ask you this question: who are you willing to exploit in the pursuit of luxury? Because undoubtedly, if your goal is to amass large amounts of wealth under capitalism, somebody will definitely be exploited. And 9 times out of 10,
they probably look exactly like you. Hi you guys, what's up? It's Tahira. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello. Don't forget to click that subscribe button down below and join the fam. I make a lot of fun videos. It's been time. It's been bad time, fam. This video is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little raw and real. This is essentially going to be a get ready with me / rant about Black capitalism. The get ready with me part is because I have to go to Juma in an hour. You know, God praise the Lord. And the rant just has to be because I'm pissed off. It's been a minute since I've done a video like this, but that's how you know I really just needed to like get off my chest. Fundo en mi alma, you know what I mean? And also because if you're on my side of the internet, which is very Black, very Muslim, very left-leaning, very creative, there's been a lot, and I mean a lot of conversations about Black networking events, about Black influencers making too much money. Also, if you see my light flickering on and off, just make dua for me. Just pray for me. I can't be bothered, okay? Like, y'all want the video or not? So this was something that I actually brought up on my stories on Instagram at Sincerely Tahiri. Just follow me over there, and on TikTok at Sincerely Tahiri for historical breakdowns and pop culture analysis. Also way more consistent. And I was talking about this on my stories after I went to Sip and Slay, which is an event started by Every Stylish Girl, which is a Black woman owned, I guess, like media / creative company owned by Nana Ejimine. I've been going to Sip and Slay for years, actually. The first one that I went to was during the pandemic and it was online. And I remember that if I can still find the screenshot on my phone, I will post it. I had such a good time at that one because the girls were really dropping gems. Like I remember they were talking about like contract negotiations, and they were talking about how to pitch yourself and how to come up with your own rates. And like, it was just a really in-depth conversation. As someone who, if y'all don't know, during the pandemic is when I became a full-time creative, and I've pretty much been, you know, on my own. I haven't been signed or anything like that. So conversations like that were super helpful with me as someone breaking into this industry, right? But I went last year in person and I went this year in person, and I have notes. There's this sentiment on the internet that any criticism towards people in your community is hate, internalized self-hate, it's beef, it's problematic, it's aggressive, it's unnecessary. Wait till the girls find out that our civil rights leaders that we quote so much, even on the Muslim front, our scholars that we quote all the time and learn from, publicly disagreed and critiqued each other. It happened all the time. They had no hesitancy to call out the problematic behaviors in our community while simultaneously fighting the larger systems at play. Everything has been pissing me off so bad. If I sound like I'm quoting The Matrix this entire video, it's because I am. I had to go watch the entire Matrix trilogy. I don't know what that last movie was. I had to go watch the entire Matrix trilogy because I'm like, the girls are under spells. Under spells, people. You're under spell. I ain't under a spell. You are. You're under a spell. The girls are literally plugged in and it's pissing me off so bad. Anyway, back to Sip and Slay. I told y'all this was going to be a little chaotic. So one of the things that I also liked about Sip and Slay when it became IRL, I liked how accessible the guests / celebrities / professionals were. And I'm going to get into the whole influencer / celebrityness of it all. But yeah, like I remember I went last year and I was literally sitting next to Jada, who is the owner of Ami Colette. And then sitting in front of me was who? Anifa, the owner of Hanifa. And I was like, oh, they had a lot of industry professionals. It just felt like it was a true professional conference versus now these conferences do not feel professional at all. They feel like clout conferences. We had like good guests this year. Sierra came and talked to girl. We're gonna talk about Sierra in a minute. And that was cool and all. That's great. But why was this just performative platitudes? Why was it just like, do your best and like put yourself out there? Like, si se puede. Y nada más. There was no depth. That depth and like insight into the industry that I got last year and also in my first Sip and Slay online, I did not get that this year. I think motivation is cool, but it gets to a point where motivation is a grift. One of my friends who I was there with, when I said to her that I feel like the only thing that probably would have made this event worth it is if I paid for the VIP, which the prices themselves were crazy. And that's a part of my critique. She was like, watch, and you would go to the VIP section, which that's where all the guests and like the celebrities were. The people that paid for VIP got that intimate time with them. But my friend was like, watch, you would probably be back there in VIP and the girls would be acting stush. And baby, if I know New York City creatives like I think I do, she was 100% probably correct. And this is the thing about capitalism. Because these are people that have, in some type of way, they feel like they won the rat race, crabs in a barrel. No one is going to turn around and then give you their tips on how you can also get to the top of the barrel, unfortunately. But what they will do is give you, once again, these performative platitudes and feel like they really did something because they're blessing you with their presence. I'm so sorry. It's not enough. It's not enough. I was so frustrated because I'm sitting there like, when are we going to talk about the racial pay gap in the influencer industry? When are we going to talk about the unfortunate normalization of bad business practices in the creative industry? When are we going to talk about somebody need to make a creative union? Like, not just SAG for the actors, but like all creators, influencers, like net 30, net 60 is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, when are we going to talk about how to protect your intellectual property as a Black woman on the internet? When are we going to talk about how we can be sustainable as creators who do and have always contributed to consumerism and people having all types of dysmorphia about themselves, their lives, their bodies? When are we going to have these conversations? When are we going to talk about how Black women are being censored on the internet? Like, when are we going to talk about that? But no, we have Sierra up here in a sweatsuit, like talking about how, I had dinner with Jeff Bezos and he has the same work ethic as you and I. I literally was like, am I in the Twilight Zone? You're name dropping Jeff Bezos? Oh my God, la ilaha illallah. And that's when I was like, my people have lost the plot. My people have lost the plot. I'm not trying to harp specifically on Sip and Slay. I'm going in order, okay? I'm just talking about this is the last of these events that I went to. When I walked into Sip and Slay, for the first time, honestly ever, that I've been in a predominantly Black space, and you're talking to a girl that has gone to Afropunk since she was a teenager, has been in Black artsy creative spaces for a very long time, who got invited to CultureCon by Verizon. Don't play with it. I felt out of touch. I felt uncomfortable. I felt a little ostracized. The energy in the room was kind of cold. And I can assume that that's also what a lot of people felt when they were there at CultureCon this year. On to CultureCon. Why in the morning at CultureCon they did a sermon? To have a sermon at a professional conference to an audience of like thousands of people. Apparently the owner of CultureCon is a preacher's kid. Like the jokes write themselves. And I can't unpack the prosperity doctrine and gospel to y'all because even though I've been in Christian spaces, I've been to church, I've read the Bible, I'm African-American Muslim, I have Christian family members, that's not my space. But there is something to be said about that correlation from the PK to the hypercapitalism, for sure. Blackness is not a monolith. Like, there's not only one type of Black person here. CultureCon, like I said, I was invited last year. I've also been a few times. And I didn't go this year because I think Sip and Slay really just took me out in regards to events like these. But also, I hosted my own community event, which I was very happy about, a modest closet sale, where I was trying to combat the overconsumption that happens in my industry as a creative, as an influencer, which I don't like that term anymore. And yeah, so we had a modest closet sale with me and Machi and another influencer, Jamila, Black hijabi influencers, where we were selling our clothes. Everything was under $50. We gave away literally thousands of dollars worth of PR. We had it at a Black-owned, Haitian-owned cafe in Brooklyn. So that's what I was doing. I'm not surprised that the reviews were coming out about CultureCon and people were saying literally what I said about Sip and Slay. It was a lot of aesthetics and not a lot of depth. Everything and everyone looked great, but there was no depth. And something that people have been talking about a lot is like, we're lacking cross-lateral networking. Everybody's trying to scale and get bigger, but they're not trying to get deeper. And you would be surprised at how many people in your network or how many people sitting around, just sitting next to you at some of these events, have a network that y'all can both share, have resources that you both can share. But when the focus is on accumulating wealth, and clout and looking like you're doing something, why would you want to sit next to talk to the girl next to you? Influencers are being called out, rightfully so, that they make so much money with little contributions back to society, and the response is you're pocket watching, as if their entire job is not to show you what's in their pockets. When that is the energy, why would you talk to the person next to you? So yeah, it was a lot of conversation about how weird CultureCon felt. It didn't feel like a professional networking environment. It feels like people are clout chasing. People want to be seen. The idea that being seen doing the work or being photographed next to people doing the work means that you're doing the work, like proximity and nepotism is all really people it looked like we're getting from this type of event. There were so many celebrities at CultureCon too. Let me just be clear. I don't think CultureCon has ever had this many celebrities. I'm not saying celebrities aren't experts in their field. I mean, some of them are. Depends on what you became famous for. So let's get into the celebrity of it all. Representation and identity politics have always been something that has been super helpful to the Black community, but also very hurtful in a lot of ways, because we're so used to crumbs that we feel like just seeing a Black face in certain spaces means something significant. The Blackness is not enough to indicate that somebody has the same ethics and morals as you. Let's just be very clear about that. So there's so many celebrities at CultureCon and at events like these all the time now. And some of it feels weird to me. I'm going to be so honest, because these are people who are very tone deaf about the world around them, that don't have anything to say about the issues plaguing the average Black person. And that's another thing. People are literally trying to escape the collective. So much of what we define as luxury just means that you are away from the common folk and the poor folk, as if you aren't closer to that than you are to these niggas on the screen. But okay, you got Michael Ealy up there talking about he been discriminated against for being light-skinned and for being handsome. Light-eyed, high yellow ass demons. I just can't. That's what we're talking about. You discrimination because of that. You're experiencing colorism, and this was the stage that you wanted to do that, to talk about this oppression that you experienced, Michael Ealy. And y'all don't understand, if you haven't been, people literally spend money to come to these events. People book flights. People travel to come. Where is the actual value for the average person, other than just saying, oh, I'm in a room with Morris Chestnut and Taraji P. Henson and Michael Ealy? Other than that, back to my event, not is that is even a comparison, because my event was much smaller scale, it was my first event, whatever. I think I saw firsthand how insane it was to make decisions and move with like more progressive humanist model and how you do business, and how people will come out of the woodwork and push back against that. There was some drama with me having my event. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to figure out how much I should really get into. Maybe I'll do a live stream for the members. If you want to join my membership, I really appreciate it. It's $3 a month to support your girl. You get extra content, etc. here on YouTube. But there was some drama with my event, and I had to actually completely change venues and change some of the influencers involved, because they were literally clout chasing demon capitalist monsters. Like, imagine my shock. My kinfolk. You know what I mean? Like, fellow Black Muslim women's were sitting here being so difficult to work with because their priority was clout and money. And that's it. The amount of pushback and hesitancy that people were giving me from that. When I was putting up my flyers around New York City saying consumerism is haram, right? That Allah loves sustainability. The pushback I was getting was so baffling to me. And it just let me know that, like, one of my friends said it the best, that for people to get to certain places and certain access, certain means of success, 100%. I hate to say it. I sound like my Hotep daddy. You sell your soul to really scale under these systems. If the goal is not to break these systems down, it's ops. Wallahi al-azim, I didn't realize. It's literally like that scene in The Matrix where Morpheus is teaching Neo about the Matrix and how it works. He says to him, he's like, even though all these people here, we're trying to free them, right? Until we free them, they are a part of the system. They are not ready to be unplugged. And at any moment, they can turn on you. And I watched that and I had to yell because I didn't realize how bad it was until I got into the game myself. And like, yes, I'm a businesswoman, like I'm an influencer, whatever, but be like really a business entity outside of yourself, very, very different. And if this is just what's happening small scale, I can only imagine the attitudes and the energy that comes behind putting something together like a CultureCon. And I think a lot of us make assumptions about people's intentions, but we don't know. You you don't know that just because somebody is a Black woman, that she is about liberation and not just prospering in these certain, you don't know that. And so when I saw people complain about culturecon, I wasn't surprised. I will say the New York creative scene can be very stush, right? Like, people are not really trying to help each other. It's rare that people are putting each other on. It's dog eat dog world out here, right? And I just feel like I hoped that these spaces would be different. So let's talk about influencers. So there was a Black woman who made a video on TikTok saying that influencers get paid too much money.
Look, I'm not a pocket watcher or nothing like that, but these influencers make way too much fucking money. Like, there has to be some type of, like, something to stop this shit, because there's no way that, like, influencers make more than doctors. And that just shows you how much money goes into, like, advertising and how much people are willing to spend on consumerism. Like, somebody posting a fucking wig review or makeup review can make a company like millions and millions of dollars. So these influencers get their fair pay, like, fair enough. But that shit is not, like, that shit is OD. Like, people are in hundreds and thousands of dollars of fucking student loan debt to be doctors, to make sure that your heart can pump in your chest, and you're justifying somebody who literally just puts on mascara to make that much money. Like, that is completely unnecessary. Like, it's never that serious. And I think, like, a lot of people that want to chase this, like, influencer lifestyle and, like, make money off of the internet, like, that's actually very horrible. Like, it's no better than just being a fucking, like, capitalist. Like, you're just getting paid to sell people shit that they don't fucking need. Like, it's literally just overconsumption.
And let's be very clear, I agree with what she said. People didn't like her tone. And maybe it's because I'm a Black girl from the hood. It is what it is, bro. I think as Black women, we should be able to tell the difference between, like, malice and aggression and passion. And I felt like she was a little activated when she was speaking, because she was angry, as she should be. She was passionate about what she was talking about. And the girls, when I tell you the point flew over their heads, it's actually been so enlightening to see so many creators that I admire, that I looked up to, you know, maybe even idolized in a sense. Those fantasies about who they were came crashing down, because the minute they got critiqued, all of the tone policing, oh, she's angry, she's bitter, she's jealous. You would think we was talking to white people. My God. You're pocket watching. You're just mad because you're not a successful influencer. You yourself are promoting products and da-da-da-da-da-da, and you got all these followers from this video. And words of fab socialism. It is not hypocritical to critique capitalism, because capitalism forces all of us to indulge in this system that we don't want to. No, it's not surprising to me that there's previous videos of this girl promoting products and maybe tagging a link or tagging a brand and while she was doing her makeup. Hello? Niggas gotta eat. It's not crazy for her to make these, to have these comments, have these strong feelings about being an influencer, and have had videos go viral before. Or people being like, oh, you're jealous, you're jealous, you're jealous. And the average person is working poor. Why is it a shock that they are going on their phones after working a 50-hour shift, getting paid nickels and pennies and dimes, to see people that undoubtedly do not work as hard as them doing a $165,000 luxury shopping haul, talking about I'm getting flued out left and right, selling them a fantasy, making them dysphoric about their own lives? Why is she not allowed to be jealous? It's a recession out there and there's no jobs. How many Black women just lost their job because of the federal government? How many Black women are not getting paid right now because of the federal government shutdown? We flex about Black women being the most educated people demographic in the US. That's great and all. Black women also have the highest amounts of debt. Like, yeah, niggas is mad. Niggas is angry. Niggas is a little jealous and envious because niggas want to eat too. And you got people saying stuff like, favor isn't fair. Oh my gosh, do not let me unpack the spirituality of it all. Your only connection to the divine, to God, is via capital. You think if you don't got no money in your pocket, God hates you. Wake it. Oh my God. Wake that up. You think that having money or not having money is either divinely inspired or it's because of your oh so hard work. And I literally had to comment on influencer's page who I actually really like. Her video, she was saying something along the lines of, you're making it feel like people don't deserve their money or they should feel bad about having money. And I was like, meritocracies aren't real. And like, yes, scopes of work can be very different across industries and fields, 100%. It can be easier for somebody to go do some physical manual labor than to do creative mental work in regards to creating something, a painting, writing a book or whatever. My lights are really connected to me being angry. I don't know if y'all tapped that. But most people on the internet are cookie cutter copies of each other, are not super creative or artistic, are not adding any ingenuity to the space. They are grifting. They're grifting. What is Mr. Beast adding to the world? What is Alex Earl adding to the world? Huh? And then it was also crazy because like these are all black women arguing with this girl. Understandably, she's black herself. And I guess they felt really offended by her thing. But it's just so funny because like, y'all get pennies compared to the white girls next to you. The white girls who don't work as hard as you. Let's be very clear though. If anybody works hard on the internet and creates and innovates, it is black women. So I understand the girls being a little upset. But y'all don't get paid for your hard work. Y'all got pennies compared to these white girls who don't do nothing, who actually be filming in dirty ass rooms with dirty ass clothes that don't do nothing. And that's why when the girl said in her video, y'all don't realize you're one bad month away from the welfare line, y'all were super offended. And it's a fact. Like I said before, there's no regulation in this industry. These brands can pay you whenever they want. They say net 30 is really net 65. Like, yeah, one bad month, we're all down. But here's the thing, like poverty, especially under these systems, especially the more marginalized you are, is not indicative of your personhood or your lack of merit or your value. It is systemic. But you're sitting here convinced that to get it out the mud and to be successful or to have a normal, healthy living life is solely in your hands. Not only is it delusional, it's a lie. And it feeds into the hustle culture that is killing all of us. You cannot hustle your way and bootstraps your way out of systemic issues. Word to Eastman to Gwendolyn, like poverty is a man-made genocide. It is constructed. Black people have been made poor not because we don't got no work ethic, because niggas don't work hard, because niggas want us poor. They want us back on that plantation. Are we okay? How is you cool? Like, I don't know. I really love my people, but I really understand when Harriet Tubman was like, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if they realized they were slaves. Some niggas got to get left behind. Some of y'all got to get left behind. People were responding to the original girl's video being like, not all of us want to be activists. You think you have a choice? You think you got a choice? We're having a government shutdown right now. And this is what's so crazy. Some of the influencers responding were like, oh, influencers are just the next stage of marketing and advertising, but y'all don't got nothing to say about that or these corporations. And this is how I know y'all are not tapped in. People have been complaining and critiquing advertisements and corporations for decades. Everybody has something to say about that Sydney Sweeney ad. People have been openly critiquing and talking about Coca-Cola and how in certain Latin American countries, Coca-Cola is easier to buy and cheaper to buy than water. Y'all just don't care. Y'all don't care about the critiques of marketing and advertising and corporations. Y'all don't care about people talking about capitalism in mass. Talking about, oh, nobody I know feels like somebody has too much money. I bet they don't. Pocket watching as if you're not selling us your entire lifestyle. And then it's the influencers being super obtuse, being like, oh, well, it's not my fault. I'm just showing you a mascara I like. Now you're being disingenuous. Your entire bag depends on that follower buying that mascara and you getting that affiliate link and then you doing a brand deal with this on idiot. Like 100%. A lot of y'all are grifting and making your money off of the backs of your audience who are regular niggas, and you're not giving them anything substantial in return other than a dream that majority of them cannot get. People at culturecon talking about some, and at Sip and Slay, oh, just believe in yourself. Just post the video. Don't care about quality. Don't care about lighting. Just post it. Are you stupid? If a black woman get up on the internet and her setup ain't right, and she just really sitting there talking in a bonnet, she will never have any real success. She will be seen as a meme. She'll be funny. Maybe she'll have a little bit of moderate success in black spaces, but she ain't never gonna be taken seriously. You telling people just post the video, make it better later. Or the girls are talking about, oh, just post the content. Look at me on the red carpet. That is not the reality for majority of people. If we're being for real, majority of us need less black women in front of a camera and more black women as social media strategists, as brand marketers, as brand managers. Because a lot of the reasons why the black creative girlies are not getting jobs and opportunities, are not getting the bag compared to how white girls are, is because majority of the people, yes, this is a female-led industry, white women, white. They not looking at me and you. They don't care what you have to offer, but y'all don't want to listen. Y'all want to dance, circus and bread and all that shit. Like, whatever, bro. Let me do my mascara. Y'all really got me heated. BRB. I think I'm done yelling now, but no promises for real. I do have to go worship my Lord. But yeah, I guess to finish up my thoughts on the influencerness of it all. Yes, the internet has democratized access to a lot of different industries, which is something that I've benefited from. So many people benefited from. It's been a means of spreading knowledge and information without it being gatekept or kept behind a paywall, which I think is really amazing, right? But in all of the critiques about social media and technology. We're complaining about big tech. We're complaining about Meta and TikTok. We're complaining about AI. We're complaining about the phones, right? How it's causing all of us to be anxious, upset, insecure, blah, 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 blah. Doom scrolling, all of that. So many, literally like studies have come out talking about the harms of these things. And you mean to tell me we can critique all of these things in the influencer ecosphere, but we cannot critique influencers themselves? You mean to tell me that the only problem here is the algorithm and big tech corporations, but not the people profiting off of these industries and whose literal whole job exists on our phones? Like, there's no critiques we can extend to influencers. It's just systemic. It's nothing individual or interpersonal. Because yes, individuals do not have systemic power, but we do have collective power. And there is something to be said about how this collective, this group of people in these spaces are using their power and how it impacts the rest of us. In the same vein as we can talk about the music industry and even the publishing industry. I talked about this in my video on Capitalism. The quality has significantly decreased because of what? Capitalism. It's not about art anymore. It's not about information anymore. It's not even about entertainment anymore. A lot of the girlies that are making music, that are writing books, that are influencers, pick a lane, pick an industry. A lot of the quality has decreased because the purpose is I'm grifting, I'm trying to make some money. Some of y'all favorite white authors literally cannot spell. Their editors wrote the whole book, or they don't have editors anymore. They're releasing 3 books in a calendar year full of grammatical errors. Hello? Enemies to lovers, smut on the 3rd page. Come on. Let's be for real. Capitalism muddies art. And so a lot of the girls that are upset are talking about this as if they're all creating art, as if they're all actually being creative. And this is not about hate. This is about the reality. There are 100% people that have a skill set that can do this very well, that are separate from selling a product. Let's be very clear. Majority of the people, though, that are aspiring to be influencers or that are taking up space are just salespeople. There is no artistry in their craft. There's no creativity in their craft. There's no connection or community in their craft or on their platforms. So once again, similar to music, a lot of the girls are literally getting on a beat to make a bag. There's no talent there. You mean to tell me we can't critique that? How do y'all sound any different than the drug dealers in the hood talking about I'm trying to feed my family, but you're literally destroying the community? Yeah, some people really do gotta sell drugs to feed their family. But everybody is here to feed their family? Or we're gonna be honest that some of y'all are here to just get a bag? They be like, "Die, like, tell me the truth." Let's just be for real about what's going on. In my last little bit, because I really do have to go to the masjid, and speaking of going to the masjid, this has also infiltrated Muslims, right? Like, so many of the Muslim creators, YouTubers that people really like are just using an Islamic version of hustle culture and manifestation or whatever. The only thing that y'all got people making dua for is some money. Do you have a right to make dua for money? Of course. Can Allah grant you money? Of course. But what you're not realizing, once again, is that these things are systemic. You asking Allah, Allahumma G-Wagon, Allahumma rich man, right? What you're not understanding is that for so many of us to get the good, healthy life is to take down the systems. And I posted this on my stories when I was talking about like culturecon and Sip Slay or whatever. And I want to pose the same question to y'all. It is something I have to ask myself. Let me just read it. So this is from the night that I went to Sip and Slay, and like these are my thoughts. I said, while I think it's great to see Black women gathering to celebrate our accomplishments, I can't help but realize that so much of our aspirations, our activism, and even our prayers are limited to the pursuit of wealth, not collective liberation or even mutual aid, but for our own personal desire to be rich. And let me add, by any means necessary. So many of these Black girl luxury and Black excellence spaces are just promoting capitalism with a Black face. And so if you're not invested in completely dismantling these systems, I ask you this question. Who are you willing to exploit in the pursuit of luxury? Because undoubtedly, if your goal is to amass large amounts of wealth under capitalism, somebody will definitely be exploited. And 9 times out of 10, they probably look exactly like you. Who are you willing to exploit for this soft life that you're seeking, right? Who are you willing to exploit for these easy access to things, to clothes, to money, to food? Who are you willing to exploit, right? We don't even think about the ways that like eating certain types of food that are out of season and like the tax of that the global South feels, right? Like you're talking about wealth, but you're not talking about food sovereignty, right? Like the wealth of being able to grow your own food in your backyard. That's not what we're talking about. You want a very specific type of wealth, and it's steeped in whiteness because the wealth that white people got, they got off the backs of your ancestors. They got off of stealing from the global south. That's where they got that wealth. And that's what y'all want so bad. And I can put so many different quotes from our beloved civil rights leaders about the issues with capitalism on the screen. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael. Like, even when I heard that Bell Hooks, rest in peace and power, called Beyonce a terrorist, I thought that was crazy. Me now? Hey, you know, like, shout out to Life and Living and Learning, because was she wrong? To the Muslim girlies, y'all just want to sit there and get degrees that your mama and your grandmother never had access to, and then sitting there talking about, I just want to chill in a crib. Some people are meant to just be in the home and raising children and cultivating a home and a family. That is their honor, and that is something that they seek and aspire towards, and that is a beautiful goal to have, to raise a family, to raise children. That's amazing. Not all of y'all. Let's be honest. Now all of a sudden y'all got doctorate degrees and talking about I'm gonna chill in the crib. And it's not about religion, and it's not about femininity. It's about capitalism. You are tired and you're opting out. Be for real. And all of a sudden, all these things that you're making dua for and dreaming about and talking about, all of it is systemic. All of it can be solved by fixing the systems of inequality. Who would have thought? And I think, like, to wrap this up, I might title this video or put something in here about how, like, being broke revolutionized me, or being a broke influencer radicalized me in a certain type of way. Because it really did, right? Like, this has been my hardest year, at least financially, as a creator. I've been a full-time creator for 5 years. And even though I've never been super wealthy, right? I've never been somebody that was making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Being back in New York and also under this current administration and recession, literally my income was essentially cut in half from when I was living in Philly, when I was traveling, all of that. So that's been a lot, right? And I can only be so honest and open and vulnerable about that now, because I had to unlearn a lot of my beliefs about poverty and about wealth and about capitalism. Me struggling financially is not indicative of a lack of merit or effort or even an attack on my personhood. I am more than how much money is in my bank account, right? And my creativity and my community is priceless. However, we don't live in a meritocracy, right? I can be as talented as I want. I'm also a Black Muslim woman living in America. That's going to show up in my pockets, right? And I had to really do a lot of that unlearning, because I realized the things that I thought I wanted money to give me, community gave. The things I wanted money to solve for me and to give me, and the luxuries I wanted to afford in this life, it's so crazy how Allah showed me that community actually filled all of those things and then more. I remember being super, like, feeling so ashamed and feeling so heavy about my finances. And it was really giving me like panic attacks. Like, it was pretty bad. And then so I finally was like, okay, let me post on my close friends. Like, I didn't want to post anything publicly. I didn't want to make a GoFundMe or whatever, but I wanted to post on my close friends. And I had to give my community the opportunity to show up for me. If I've taken all these years to cultivate a beautiful community, right? I had to let them show up for me. And so I posted on my close friends, talking about my finances, talking about everything, whatever. I remember that day, I literally had $10 in my bank account. Nothing in my savings, $10. That was all I had. And I turned off my phone because I was super ashamed. And so went about my day. I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and Wallah al-Azim, I swear to God, I felt so light just by speaking about it. Just by going on TikTok and looking at all these people talking about how hard the job market is, right? Because I know somebody's going to comment something slick in the comments and be like, oh, why didn't you go apply to a regular job? It's almost like we're literally going through a recession. It's almost like nobody can find a good job. So yes, obviously I was applying to jobs. Like, I was applying at Barnes & Nobles. I was applying to be a social media manager at certain places. I actually got a few interviews and it never went anywhere. Why? Because these are systemic issues. And so the next day I woke up, I was just happy that I got it off my chest, right? And that was enough for me. I was like, whew, I can breathe now. And then I went on my phone. I turned on my phone, looked at my DMs, looked at my bank account. Overnight, I now had $1,000 in my bank account just from my friends, just from my community, just from the people. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna cry. I just did my makeup, I'm not gonna cry. But just from the people in my community who really loved me and was like, I believe in you. I'm investing in you. I want to see you win, right? And also, it's so funny because I do really feel like what I'm doing is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't know if y'all want me to do another video talking about like all of these critiques that I have about being an influencer. Where do I see myself, my future now? The short answer to that is, I think really the goal for me has never been the internet. It has been to use the internet to connect to people and to connect to other spaces, other industries. Being back in school, doing what I'm doing on the internet, everything is in writing, all of it is kind of like blending into one. And I think I'm really stepping into myself as a teacher, right? As a historian, as a keeper of my people's history, as a media critic and a journalist, right? And as a writer. These are all things that I am, and now community organizer. You know, these are all things that I feel accurately describe me better than an influencer. And even though I create art, and even though my work, my content, like I said, my creativity is abundant, is endless. You can't put a price on that, for real. Allah has blessed me in so many things. Let's be very clear. I could pick any niche on the internet and really do it big. But alhamdulillah, this is where I'm at. And I just feel like I just want people to realize that maybe, like me, what you're seeking with money, you really just want community. You really just need people to love you and to hear you and to support you. And I couldn't put on this event without my community. The ability to give back to those friends who gave money to me has been so fulfilling. And so, yeah, I know I was yelling, I was ranting, but I really just want better for my girls. I want people to have a life path and a goal and a career that is bigger than just the aspiration of money. What you're not feeling is passion, babes. You want money by any means necessary. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And we need to unpack it. That, like, literally, y'all, the whole world is revolutionizing. Okay, like the flotilla, hundreds of boats are going to Palestine to give them aid. They just elected the young people, the youth of Nepal just elected their new prime minister after they got rid of the old one on Discord. Like, you know, the youth in Bangladesh, like, changing their leadership, like the world is waking up. And we here talking about pocket watching. We gotta wake it up. We deserve better. And also, capitalism is ending. That is a promise. It is not sustainable. All empires die. This will end. Who are you going to be when we're revolutionizing, when we're reshaping America, when we're talking about eat the rich? Where are y'all going to fall in? Because I always want to be with the collective. I always want to be with the people. I always want to be with the community. Ain't no luxury you could sell me to get me away from my niggas. And I mean that. It's a lot of unlearning that we have to do. And it is 11:51. Baby Tahira told me I have to go to the masjid. That's all I got for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this really did some, meant some. I don't know. Maybe I was just cursing people out. Allahu alam. No sé. Pero muchas gracias por todo. Hopefully I'll see you guys in another video. I'm going to post another one really soon. I promise. Te lo juro. Te lo juro. Follow me everywhere on the internet. I sincerely to hear you. Stay tuned, especially if you're in New York City, for some more in-person events that I have going on. I have many in the works. And as always, this is a critique to myself first, to my community first, and then broadly. I had to wake up, get unplugged out the matrix, and I really want that for my people. I hate how much I sound like my hotel father. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.